Oh yeah. Well, maybe as a follow-up to that question, there are cases where like maybe companies might want to migrate their solution in between some platforms.
Yep.
So obviously that would require that they actually have a solution that is not locked into that platform. So what architectural approaches should one take to sort of avoid being locked into a single platform?
That's great. That's a topic I'm personally very passionate about, in that having built a couple platforms over the years, I was always trying to protect my customers from that, right? And it's not just protecting them from cloud dependence, it's what data storage they might be using. Some new evolution and new capability comes out. How can I allow customers to leverage that? So it comes down to me to abstraction and extensibility. Abstracting away the fundamental parts of your application. I need to store and retrieve time series data. I need to cache real-time values and share them over a pub sub infrastructure. I need to route the workflows to my backend. Think of it abstractly, and then find out in each of those cloud vendors. Of course, there's going to be some rework required inevitably as you move between those. But as a third party, this is where perhaps the benefit of third party or intermediary IoT platforms can be very helpful, because they've taken that into consideration. Not all of them. Some are very tightly bound to one cloud vendor or another. But considering, again, that abstraction and extensibility, I believe, is kind of the core of all of it. You brought up examples like geo. I think in one of your questions, when we were talking earlier, lifting applications across geographies, right? Well, I might not have that cloud vendor, or might not be the ideal one for this particular region of the world. You've got a lot of companies, for example, which will, take one cloud vendor approach in China, another in different parts of the world. You have to be prepared for that. It's not just what's technically best, it's regulatory considerations, it's practical considerations. And increasingly, I don't see a lot of companies or vendors doing a really good job to help customers that have a distributed cloud solution, even if it was all on Microsoft or Amazon, but it's multi-region. There's still a big problem in how do you deploy applications across those? How do you get a holistic view of all the data that's across that wide geography? So there's still a lot of work that the cloud vendors can do as well to make not just, I think they're all being fairly good about portability. Most of them give you a way to export your data, no matter how massive it might be. It does get to the point when you look at the size and scope of industrial data, you get to a point where there's just so much gravity around that data, it becomes very difficult and expensive to move. So lock-in sort of happens sometimes on its own. But abstraction and looking at potentially third-party solutions that sit on top of the generic cloud infrastructure or even the other IoT clouds. And that's just another pattern that's happening a lot as well, as companies have focused more on the application layer, right? And whether it came in through Azure IoT, ThingWorks, AWS IoT, an MQTT broker, and Google Cloud, who cares? We're an application level platform that lets people utilize that data in different ways: visualization, AI, enterprise integration, things like that.